Okay, so POI is verbally, and I'll start my speech now. The reasons why so many students have to prefer exams are both academically intelligent and emotionally intelligent is because they have to constantly cope with pressure and meet deadlines all the time. Remember that this debate is not about which side is can help student better, but it's rather on how individuals, when it comes to developing as a person and growing physically and mentally strong. It's our team's burden to prove how academic intelligence is the foundation which can better prepare us in the future. And note that we're not here to say that emotional intelligence is useless and that we don't need emotions in our life, but rather how emotional intelligence is not going to work if we don't excel and develop the right skills at school or any time in our life. So, what you expect from this speech is first some clarification, second, some responses, third of all, some arguments, and finally, the weighing. For clarification, we believe that when it comes to which type of intelligence is more important in life, we believe a couple of things. This kind of intelligence have to, number one, prepare and help a person thrive, number two, help in society in general, and number three, help people navigate life. Because the question is that can emotional intelligence can really help us pay the bill when you're not excelling at school and when you're not having the right skill like problem solving skill or teamwork. But academic intelligence can because you have experiences, you have the knowledge, and you have been trained a lot at school. And know that academic intelligence is not just excelling at specific subjects and studying without paying any attention to any aspects of life. We have made this very clearly. It's more on how you are trained to be a better person, how you are trained to look at different perspective, and how you are trained to be under pressure, meet deadlines in order to excel at specific fields at school or in university, etc. And we believe that academic intelligence it's more measurable and can be improved much easier because academic intelligence can be taught, they can be tested, and they can be improved in structured environments. So this makes it more reliable and more predictable as a whole. And in contrast, emotional intelligence it's much harder to measure and can vary depending on personality, background, or culture which we have never seen any specific frame up and set up from the opposite side. Before I move on, I'll take that. The reason why we think it's so is because we really do believe that academic intelligence is something that we can rely on for the most of our time. And we'll go on further to explain how academic intelligence actually enhances emotional ones and it's not the other way around. So we'll come right here. So first of all, because we'll say EI for short, because most of all, many EI traits, such as we have to solve conflicts, we have to develop ethical thinking, and also reflect ourselves, those mostly rely on academic type of skill, like for example, critical thinking, or we have to do reasoning or be awareness of ourselves, right? Because for example, if we do moral reasoning in life, just like what we're debating right now, we believe that the first comes first is always academic intelligence, then it comes to how we solve and how we control ourselves when it comes to emotions. Because when we have the knowledge, when we have the experiences, and especially when it comes to moral reasoning, deciding what's actually right and what is wrong in complex situation, this is not just something that's based on our emotions, something that we think it's right, something that we think it's wrong. It's not just about our gut feeling. It's more on a deeply and more intellectual process that requires, for example, psychological understanding and requires cultural understanding of the problem. And because sometimes finding solutions is not just about being empathy. For example, you think that this is right for you to do so. It's also about how one view the issue, how it's different perspective, how it's about weighing the pros and cons, and most importantly, finding a long-term one. So this means that when you have academic intelligence, this in turn will help you to develop your emotional ones. Because let's take the example of whether you should go on a holiday. It's not about your emotional, it's not about how you like it or not. It's not about how you think it'll be good for your family. It's more on how you should think this will provide any long-term impacts and how this will affect your life and weighing the pros and cons, which really the academic intelligence allows you to do just that. And for example, let's take the example of therapists, right? Because often than not, therapists, yes, they have to use empathy, they have to have emotional intelligence, but their effectiveness most of the time actually depends on their knowledge of certain disorders, on their knowledge of treatment plans, and especially specifically behavior like cognitive behavior theory, which all of those things are academic intelligence. They cannot just make a treatment plan for a specific patient just because they have emotions and just because they are emotionally intelligent. And we believe that a diplomat needs emotional awareness, but without academic understanding of like the history, the politics, and the laws, they may make poor decisions despite their good intentions. We believe that making decisions based solely on academic intelligence and then it comes to emotional ones, and that's why the impact is really simple. Academic intelligence lays the foundation for emotional intelligence, and this in turn assists people in making more informed decisions about their life as a whole and about their career and a lot of other things in general. So, for arguments, we believe that the argument on a bigger level we're trying to say is that we do believe that academic intelligence builds the foundation for societal advancement. The core idea here is that societal progress, for example, in medicine, in technology, in economics, and a lot of other fields, is primarily driven by people with high academic intelligence. Because yes, we do believe like what proposition is saying to us all the time, their main ideas around the fact that EI helps people work better, better leadership, better collaboration, etc. But even perfect collaboration is useless if we don't have the right knowledge. And if we have a team of emotionally intelligent people that simply cannot design like specific code or cannot design medicine, vaccine, etc., or cannot solve complex legal issue because they don't have the knowledge, this would simply be useless. And innovation is what we think is best because innovation is fundamentally intellectual and we can use this to connect people together. And overall, we believe that in most sectors, this really matters for development, especially for global and national ones, because medicine, for example, public policy, making policy, especially for the government, and science, it's mostly art academic intelligence that is the driving force, and we believe that emotional intelligence is just a helpful bonus because if I want to do this, if I want to master at critical thinking, I need to have the knowledge first, then it comes to my emotion. And we think the weighing here is pretty simple, especially when it comes to which side can actually help people achieve so much more in life, because simply with the right skill, with the right experiences, you can develop as a better person as you move on in life as a whole, which we believe that we have won this debate clearly because we're able to explain to you how academic intelligence builds the foundation for societal advancement and how this in turn lays the foundation for emotional intelligence, which clearly wins this debate.